funniest thing, because like it reminds me of that 4chan post that came out where somebody was explaining the how you can, like fuck all this other stuff. Why don't you just do shrimp farming in your garage? Well, you can just do that and make more money this way. I was like, okay, I'm gonna farm shrimp in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. Anything else we'd like to discuss in relation to this, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great that Elon started talking about the sort of the legal predicament that the administrative state is in. It's something that we all kind of acknowledge in law school as we learn about it, but it's just basically like courts have kind of broadly and expansively interpreted the Constitution to allow for these creations of the legislature that really fall outside of what their designated constitutional purview is. And we don't really talk about it a whole lot, but it's a massive amount of our budget and a massive amount of the federal employment structure. And, I think that we should maybe revisit the notions of the administrative state and think about what's actually constitutionally supported. And, perhaps the Supreme Court might have some things to say in the near future as well.
Yeah, I think Elon also adds, depending on whatever skill sets that you may have, you should probably consider applying or helping out Doge in any capacity that you can, because I think it deserves all the support. They're doing some really, really awesome work. I have applied to Doge myself, so I'm going to help in every way I can.
They brought up the condoms in Gaza, like the ridiculous spending there. I thought that was kind of funny, that part.
Yeah. The condoms in Gaza thing was actually, like you already have these weird accusations of the war causing an outcome which leads to the significant decrease of people in Gaza. By of course, casualties of war, it happens inevitably. And it's like, okay, cool. How about we send these people condoms so they can finish them off themselves? That's the imagery in my head. It's even funnier still when you consider that they used those condoms as air balloons and then sent them up into the sky with bombs. So it's like a double-edged sword, and whichever way you're slicing, it's still going to cut in some way, and it's not good. It's in no way, shape, or form in which you're going to slice into something good, because it's just a double-edged sword.
Nothing good ever comes out of condoms.
What the fuck? They say the same thing about socks too, especially the one under your bed.
Wow.
I don't have any socks under my bed.
Good for you. Yeah. Where did you put them, man? Are you one of...
In the drawer? Why the fuck would I use a sock to jerk off?
You have no idea what I was referring to with that one, do you?
No.
This is funny.
God bless your heart, man. God bless your heart.
What are you talking about?
Do I have to really explain that one?
Yeah, so...
Oh god, here we go.
It's like so here's how it works. So when you have I can't believe I'm going to explain this, by the way. So if you have any children in the background, get them off the phone now. So basically what it is when people masturbate, sometimes they tend to want to dump their load somewhere, and sometimes they just take a sock and throw it under the bed.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I said I don't use a sock to masturbate. Why the fuck would I do that?
What the fuck?
Why the fuck?
Now I'm even more confused. Now I'm confused.
I think it's an efficiency measure. If you throw them under the bed, that creates additional administrative hassle and recovery and cleaning. The flush system improves the efficiency by
There's nothing efficient about this. There's nothing efficient about this. All you're doing is you're getting athlete's foot on your dick.
You don't wear the sock first. even like use a fresh sock, you know, like he doesn't have to.
I hope the sock is made of natural fibers.
There's no such thing as a fresh.
No polyester.
You've already worn it.
What the fuck? I opened up a huge can of worms there. I did not intend this, by the way. What the fuck? Oh my god!
I think you opened up a sock drawer of worms.
That's right. Oh my god. I think it's a definitive proof that I'm not Elon, because who the fuck is going to do shit? Actually, that does kind of sound like it.
It's a ball of worms. It's a ball of worms, yeah. But he was talking about
This is horrible. Sorry. It's back on topic. Shit. But why did you highlight the administrative efficiency, though? I'm like,
Because it's a Doge space, of course.
right. But like, what's like
Department of Gooning Efficiency.
Ooh, nice. Yes. We actually should start up like an X page, we're going to call it that, and we're going to give you tips as to how to deal with certain things that otherwise would be, cumbersome. Emphasis on the first three letters there. Anyways, we're gonna continue along. Sorry, I've had a long day of being very massive nerd, so there's a lot of this pent up that needs to come out. So yeah, sorry about that. You can probably tell by the stuff I've been writing on my timeline that I'm like deep into some shit. It's pretty cool.
Your neurons. Yeah, you're enhancing your neurons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Autism intensifies.
I think about triangles now. Like a lot about it. It's fucking amazing. I'm serious, by the way. But anyways, it's like one of those worthy ears thing, which I like spoke about in the group chat, but nobody will remember that one, except maybe Laura Cat, you might, because I remember I dropped that, and then Suraj was like, "Damn, that's so based." It was like a thing about we were talking about like a thing that happened in Spaces almost a month back now, and that's pretty cool. Can't believe it's a month ago now, but yeah, it was actually I don't think there's really that much we could talk about when it comes to the Doge space, but I mean, unless anybody else has any thoughts about how that went, I like the fact that based Mike Lee, it's funny, his account, it like came up and he was speaking, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely added to the vibe.
I like that part. He's talking about the Doge revolution. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. We got Vivek being there. That one's pretty nice.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Because like the media was like drumming up some bullshit about there being somehow drama, but you can clearly see from this performance here that there is no drama. So there's that buried, I think. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I think,
I think a lot of the drama related to this stuff is likely to play out in court. I mean, there will be various stakeholders who want to sue to stop some of these actions. And we might see some of them put on hold. We might see some of them reversed. However, I think that overall, the trend is that the law is going to keep moving in the direction that politics has already moved.
Yeah, makes sense. What the hell?
It's kind of cool. He said he thinks they can take $1 trillion out of the deficit next year, and with the support of Trump, Congress, and the judiciary. So they're saying if they had a $2 trillion deficit and they could take $1 trillion out, and then basically they could grow the economy to cancel out the last trillion, and basically inflation would be negligible. Pretty cool.
Yeah. What the? What the fuck?
So the senators who joined the conversation, I think they also did some really good work from what I
Oh
can
yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look what I sent in the base department. We have a base department, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
We too have our own government efficiency program, but it runs before the efficiency program needs to do its job of deleting things. We just make sure that nothing needs to be deleted. It's like we're like a step ahead. We're on this like timeline, and we're already thinking of like 2030, and then we're like going back in time, and we think about what we want to have by in 2030, but we want to have it now. So,
Building for the future.
exactly. It's like the video clip that Auda sent me in my DMs. You know the one. It's like why could we like why are you so hell bent on creating infrastructure for the people, fast even though it costs more? Well, because he wants to have.
Is Adrian cutting out, or is that just me?
That's you.
It's you.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh my god. You're not cutting out at all, by the way, so that's great. But I am. Do you? I'll like. Can you still hear properly, or do you have to like restart? Periscope, bro.
It's restarting or something. I don't know.
They need to implement a normal like WebRTC thing that's not like Periscope, which by the way is going to be insanely hard, given that you'd need to exchange, I think, like multiple like Periscope itself is very modular. You can put a lot of things in it, so it assumes just for efficiency's sake, much more than just spaces and live streams are connected to it. So if you like imagine that, then all of a sudden the prospect of exchanging it becomes extremely difficult, right? So like we always say, hey, why can't they just fix it? Why can't they just take out the thing and put in something else, like a better version of WebRTC? Like, okay, cool, there's a solution. But the problem is still, I think there's a lot more connected to it. Just because if like that would be kind of my brain thinking about, okay, how do I solve this like massive complexity problem? Well, how about I just like turn it into a small thing, and then I do that.
Makes sense.
So I think there's a tons of benefits when it comes to like reducing the government spending, right? One is probably we could probably repay our loans. I think we already have like trillions of dollars of debt, national debt, right? We can use that money to repay that, and then we could probably reduce or even stop inflation at one point. And I think it will also reduce the interest payments. So I mean it's all win-win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Honestly, at this point, if Blue Sky comes out with fucking Space's alternative, that might probably be the best reason to move. That's how shit Periscope is. What the fuck is this?
Bruh.
Anyway, well, yeah, you were saying I sent you a video. What video was?
The Dubai thing?
Which Dubai thing?
The Dubai thing. The want to build it faster because you want the people to have it now.
Yes,
that one.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's how we think. That's why we don't need we ourselves as a group of people. We're like the Department of Government Efficiency, but we want to have things that are in 2030, but which are cool, but we want to have them now. So it's like that post which I sent out there where I said, this is how my brain works. This is how basically I want things to go. It's like you think about this amazing thing that you can have in the future. Well, what if you can have it now? Then actually you're starting on the first steps of, okay, if you're already there, do you actually need it? And then once you finally decide, okay, this would actually be the best thing for me, then you go ahead and pursue that as much as possible. And then you get there.
Makes sense.
It's like when somebody asks, hey, what if you had an insane amount of money? There's a lot of problems that come with you, that come find you because of the way that money works, especially at a certain volume. It's like, do you really want that? Are you sure you can deal with those problems? That's what people don't ask themselves. They just want the moolah. They just want the fucking money. They just want the stacks and be like, yeah, boy, I got it. But they don't understand what comes with it. That kind of mindset will have you have the money and then lose it just as quickly as you got it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Positives without the negatives.
There's two fundamentally there's like two fundamentally misaligned mindsets that don't understand how the planet works. One of which is the one that says money doesn't do shit for you, bullshit, and one that says, oh, I can just like, money is like all my problems disappear. No. Some of your more pervasive problems disappear, that is true. Or, like the cost of your house, or like, getting groceries and things like that. It's not going to be on your mind as much, but what's going to be on your mind is much, much bigger problems. You'll have very large scale problems that will be on your mind, connected to your wealth, of course, and people that want part of your thing. Like imagine you have these people. A very low level but extremely present example of this is a type of mindset that manifests the people who protest saying the billionaires need to pay their fair share. I'm like, their fair share of what? Their own money? Is like, what's your fair share of something you didn't work for? Hello.
I have a theory that the number of problems you have as a person actually doesn't decrease at all. It's just that
they just change.
Exactly. As you become wealthier, as you become more successful, though you can basically pay your way out of some problems, but new problems emerge.
Yeah. It just depends on like which problems are right for you. Like if you don't want to worry about the small shit and you distaste you dislike the small shit fundamentally, all of that's going to disappear for you. But if you are not mentally capable of dealing with the bigger problems that automatically come with this of being at a high level, then that's not for you, and you're actually better off with the small problems than trying to deal with big problems that you don't have the mental bandwidth for, because it's going to destroy you. Right? This is not a you're not worthy type of thing. This is a do you want to remain sane, or do you want to like develop ideations that are self-destructive as a result of your sanity vanishing? Like that's what you have to consider. And actually it's actually funny because not many people actually consider this for themselves, so they don't really understand how money works. And then you have occurrences which are quite shitty. Like, for instance, people saying, oh, hey, it doesn't matter, like, how much government, for instance, spends, right? Because then it's like, okay, it's not my money. Like, no, motherfuckers, your taxes. So it's like, okay, cool. Nobody understands that. It's like, oh, yeah, it could go there. Oh, that's fine. Oh, what about the aid? Leave the aid in. I'm like, aid for what, though? Like, just do you ever consider, like, how effective that is? And then it's like the same people that give money to charity. It's like, okay, cool. Some charities work. I'm not going to say that all charities are a problem. Some charities I think are generally good. But I think just like with the USAID, where it's like the majority of all this stuff is bullshit. I think, especially with the charities and the foundations. Like, I think that's just bullshit. I think there's a very small percentage which is very, very good, and they do quite a lot of work. And that work is very underrated, as a matter of fact. And you will hardly hear of them. You'll only hear of them occasionally because they can, like, raise large sums of money from, like, really influential people. So, like, that is pretty cool. Like, they do a lot of work. But otherwise, It's like the institute like supposed to study cancer, but doesn't admit where cancer actually comes from. It's like, well, what is that? Nobody ever asked. I was like, hey, we're gonna fund the research for like curing cancer. It's like, yes, we already know what prevents cancer from occurring in the first place. You don't have to like work on the cure if you already know how to eliminate the problem. It's like saying, oh wow, I have a problem where I shoot myself in the foot. So now I'm gonna have to figure out different types of unique technologies to come up with a foot guard to prevent the bullet from damaging my foot because I keep shooting myself in the foot. When in reality, you just take away the fucking gun. Right, like people, you know what I mean? Like it's a very intuitive way of thinking, but nobody really thinks about that. It's like, okay, you have the cancer problem, right? Okay, cool. What actually causes it? There's nobody. It's like crickets in the room. They're like, okay, what kind of potential cures do you have? Like, what do you think? Like, everybody thinks chemo, things this, things that. Okay, go, cool. Okay, but like, how do you like prevent it from happening in the first place? Crickets.
This is very quickly turning into a conversation.
Yes.
Indeed.
But like seriously, it's actually kind of part of the Doge thing, because like when you deal about you think about foundations, you think about charities, you think about aid given, all that kind of stuff. These are just examples of purposeless organizations existing that want like things. They want a piece of a very large pie. They like see the potential money that's out there. It's like, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of that. It's like it's like you're looking at a gigantic bowl of like candies, and it's like, ooh, piece of candy, but like everybody else is ooh, piece of candy, and then maybe one guy comes along and is like, ooh, piece of candy, grabs a whole fucking handful. What if 10 other people do the same thing? What if now 15 other people do the same thing? How long do you think it's going to take until the yearly bowl is empty? Like, this is the same problem here. That's why you had like this interesting example that was brought up. It was like in 2019, they like 2.5 trillion was like spent in 2019, whereas like 7 trillion was spent this like I think last year was it? It's insane. So it's like, what the fuck is that? That's remarkable. So yeah, and then we can debunk a little funny thing here. You want to do Kat, you want to debunk that specific take of that one person that we think is kind of meh?
Yeah, so there's a take in the comments discussing essentially that Doge is arguing that trickle down economics works and that there are going to be cost savings that are somehow passed down to average Americans, and I don't think that's actually the argument that's being made here. Pretty sure that the argument is that they're cutting wasteful government spending. And that's kind of the immediate problem that they're dealing with. Over the long term, I mean, a government that operates on a balanced budget could have economic consequences that could be good, could be bad, to the extent that things are subsidized, like costs could go up. But to the extent that there's excessive taxation or regulation that's causing costs to go up, I mean, maybe they could go down. So I think that the assertion, though, that this is, an attempt to force, people to accept trickle-down economics or to say that it works well, I just don't think it's true. I don't think that that's really what's being proposed here.
Right. There's people here with like motorcycles. It's insane. Sorry. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, sure. Let's bring him up. By the way, I don't want any international politics takes today. I just want to be specifically focused on the U.S. with this because that's what we're talking about. And no international relations shit. Just like with the regional stuff. That's kind of what we're going to deal with there. Like just what was discussed in the Doge space would be pretty cool.
Welcome.
Hey. Been a while.
Hey gang, yeah, I was at the Doge space. It was phenomenal. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Senator Ernst went through a whole discourse on all the great measures that they're working on cutting, namely, redundancy, inefficiencies. They talked about the flaws of U.S. aid, and it was just a very good, positive, feel-good space. And they talked about President Trump's accomplishments. It was really, really positive. Good vibes.
Always good.
That's nice.
So what's the deal with people saying the Jews killed JFK now? Huh?
Yeah, that's wild.
Or RFK as well? Like I'm just like looking at my timeline right now. I just refreshed it, right? I don't
know. People are going schizo. They're gonna do what we're gonna do. Anyways, back to the topic of the Doge space.
Let's talk about Doge.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of them getting rid of USAID and NED? I think it's amazing, for one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. As soon as
I agree. I agree with Rand Paul's take on this. Basically, foreign aid is taking money from the poorest people in your country, poorest people from a rich country, and giving it to the poorest people, to the richest people in a poor country. That's foreign aid.
Yeah. I saw this really great take. I forgot who said it. It's a libertarian. That USAID is essentially a way for the U.S. government to do illegal shit overseas without any sort of oversight. Like, Congress does not approve it. The public doesn't approve it. It's just them giving money to a bunch of quote-unquote NGOs, which could be literally a mercenary outfit for all we know, and they go do bad shit. That is what USAID is, right? It's the ability to do whatever you want with government money or taxpayer money without any sort of agreement from the public that they should be doing that. It's a mess, right? They shouldn't be doing stuff like this. And that alone, I think, is a pretty good reason not to have organizations like USAID and so many others. Like, it's not the only one, right? I've looked into a number of these organizations, and they're by far the biggest, and they're definitely the ones getting away with like a lot of the funding of, say, censorship outfits. For instance, USAID is the lead funder of Nina Jankovic, if you guys remember her, the disinformation, DHS disinformation person. They're funding her organization in the UK so that she can promote censorship of Americans. Like, that is what they're doing. Yes, so they get away with this stuff, and not anymore, because now we're gonna make them stop. And it's funny, I had this argument yesterday with a friend of mine, and he's on the fence about USAID. He's like, well, if America's using it to get rid of dictatorships and to make the world a safer place, a more pro-America, that'd be great. And I said, have you seen the world lately? Do you think the world likes what America is doing? Do you think the world enjoys USAID? No, it's making everybody into an enemy of the United States. So it's backfiring, even with its own stated mission. It's not good at it, because these people are clowns. They're kind of like the CIA guys who tried like 100 times to kill Cuban leader Fidel Castro. And it only pissed off the Cubans. It didn't really do anything. It's none of this actually works. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. And that's how useless this program is. It's only making the world a worse place. If you look at the places USAID has gone to, for instance, Afghanistan, they spent USAID money, right, to promote transgender acceptance. So, I mean, that's Afghanistan. The country's hardly, it's not liberal. And you're trying to force them to accept trans people. Excuse me. None of this works. It's a waste of money, and it pisses people off. And if anything, it made the Taliban more popular than they would have otherwise been if it wasn't for USAID and all of that American money going to gender equality studies teachers in the American University in Kabul. This is how stupid these people are.
Yeah, and what's also crazy is that we've got USAID and NED funding the International Republican Institute, which is a McCain-associated and aligned organization that is actually trying to do foreign policy, mostly autonomously from our own deep state, in fact, which is crazy. And right now, they've been trying to negotiate U.S.-Bangladesh foreign policy with the chief executive of the country, Mohammed Yunus. Very interesting stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're kind of like the European Council, right? They're not part of the EU, but they try to act like they're bigger than the EU, right? And the NED is funding organizations that are, for all intents and purposes, a deep state, because they're making deals, backroom deals with these foreign leaders and dignitaries without the sort of like express support of the U.S. government or the president, for that matter. So, yeah, Trump might have some agreement with some president somewhere, and these guys go behind his back and start talking to the opposition leaders of a foreign country, right? This is what they do. They shouldn't be doing stuff like that, and it shouldn't be taxpayer funded. If regular people want to do something like that, it's fine, I suppose, to an extent. Could be illegal, but they should not be using taxpayer dollars for it.
You know what's funny? What the fuck? While the coronavirus was created, of course, as well. Did you know they paid like almost $69,000 US to the Battery Dance Corporation in China? And it was specifically, the description was, and I quote, to cover the expenses of dancing to connect workshops in Wuhan.
No way.
Oh boy,
Wow,
literally we're like
dead.
putting you on me, and here we go. Holy shit.
Literally dead.
That is incredible. I love that. I can't even be mad at that. Is so terrible and so stupid. I can't even be mad about that. I don't think anyone really can be mad about that. That one's funny.
I did want to talk a little bit to Ian's point about the deep state impact
impact of U.S. aid, I think that might be a little bit overblown. In my experience, it's typically just grifty stuff. I mean, it's like people making shady deals with people that can somehow get them a kickback.
Yes,
more
for the
often
most
than
part.
it's some sort of like nefarious, deep NGO operation to try to destabilize a government or something like that. That's far less common than just like some kind of grift.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying like all of the money is going towards destabilizing the world, right? It's, I would say probably 95% of it is grift, right? It's kickbacks and bullshit, right? They're using taxpayer dollars to give themselves money. That alone should be an imprisonable offense, right? There's no question there. It's corruption. But there is that 5% that does go towards destabilizing other countries. Like in Georgia, if you look at the protests that are going on right now to depose the, I would say, neutral government that is neutral to both the U.S. and to Russia. They want to remove it, get rid of it, replace it with some stupid puppet, and she wants to put them in NATO or something, right? Like that's happening. If you actually go to the websites for the organizations that are leading the protests in Georgia, as well as Kazakhstan, by the way, and Slovakia also, you'll find that they are funded by USAID. It literally says on the websites. So it's like America is funding these, quote unquote, color revolutions, right? That these students who are grassroots, and I mean, they're incredibly well funded. Even if it's just a few $1 million, it's not that much money because, these are relatively cheap countries to spend your money in. You're going to get your money's worth by by paying a few organizers, and then they set everything up. That's what's going on in these countries. So you don't need a lot of money. The funny thing about USAID is how inefficient it is. Even as I would say, that as an organization, it should just be toppled because it's extrajudicial or extra governmental. What they're doing is bad for the world. But it's actually funny how inefficient they are because they think that because they have like a budget of some, like their budget is larger than the State Department and the CIA's combined. That's how big it is, right? But they think that if they throw money at it, it's going to be more effective, but it's only about 5% as effective, right? Or 5% as efficient. Imagine if they had, someone like Elon Musk running USAID. Holy shit, the world would be such a different place. Maybe not in a good way if it wasn't Elon Musk, but if they had somebody like that, holy crap. But yeah, as it stands, it's very inefficient. It's a way for people to steal money, of course.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ian. And the fact of the matter is that our government engages in foreign interference with other nations, and then we have the gall to complain when they do it to us. And I just find it a little bit hypocritical. And we have so many of these unknown agencies that fund these left-wing Soros organizations. Left-wing Soros-friendly organizations, and yes, even Open Society Foundations, which is allied directly to Soros and is a group of theirs. Rockefeller Institute, the Ford Foundation. We go into the global South countries and we just instigate the people to turn on their governments when they don't, suit our foreign policy or the views of our companies.
Or Bangladesh.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
yeah.
I mean, look, I was even saying at the beginning of letting you two up here, I want to discuss more of the regional stuff and the space in not whatever that is. Right? Like I really just want to discuss the space. That's what it's about, the after space. So like, did you listen to it? What were your guys' key takeaways?
Well, my key takeaway personally is that I can see Elon and the rest of the team, which people when we talk about the team, they think it's just some dudes. It's actually members of Congress and stuff, right, who are working on this. I think it's incredibly good to see this happening. Like for years and years and years, you see other Congress people constantly talking about government waste, and they don't do anything about it, or they don't have like the gumption to create their own committee to do something. Right? It always just sort of languishes and dies. Like I love Rand Paul, but he hasn't really accomplished very much when it comes to cutting government spending because he's one person, right? But with Doge, like holy shit, like they're actually doing something. So prior to Doge being put into power by Trump. Everybody thought that it would just sort of languish and then die after like 7 months and not get anything done, right? But from what I can see and from what they are working on, right, this is not going to stop. Like they're only going to stop when they're done, right? They're going to stop in like 16 months or something, when everything is actually fixed and they are saving $2 trillion a year, right? That is the whole plan, and I think they can do it. I mean, listening to the space.
It was great. It's like, holy crap, yeah, they're for real. They're for real. And I think the media, like if you look at the responses right now to the space, it's from Fox and AP and all those other people, they're terrified. Like their money's drying up because they're being paid by organizations like USAID, right? So they're upset that Doge is actually doing its job. By the way, I'm gonna have to also end this. I got a bunch of things that I need to do. It's also getting late for people in America who are the ones that are most likely listening to this, of course, because the international organizer audience, sorry, are like I think about 10-20%. So yeah, I probably want to keep this short. Actually, no, I think it's just a good note to end on. I think because we're kind of beaten this horse to a certain extent, where it's like almost zombie horse. We don't want zombie horses. I think we discussed this in the past as well. And but yeah, man, it's great. I really like that. It was a great space. I think there will be a few more like it, especially when more results come out. And I mean, they've done a lot of work, even though this whole thing has only been in existence for like a week or so, right? It's amazing. Yeah, 10 days. How much has been done within that period of time by them. So it's a great job to these guys, really cleaning stuff up. And I mean, for me, I'm a somewhat of an international entity, of course. I think it's important, for me, for instance, like I'm an international, I do live in America, so I think it's important for people to understand what's going on there, because this means like the economics of that country affect everything else on the rest of the planet. So seeing this is actually very good, because that means whatever benefits that country is probably going to benefit anyone else around the world as well. And them cleaning things up and making things better, it's like, yes, finally there's a return to merit. And look, I think many people can agree with the fact that taking, from your own people who are not even the most fortunate and just giving it to like the most fortunate of another country, that's fucking weird, And shutting that down, I think benefits almost everyone, because grifters should not receive any fuel. They should just all frizzle out and not exist anymore. And I mean, hey, man, good job to Elon, man. It's great stuff. And I think in general, the authors are taking over. Things are really good. And think about it this way, neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character is one that has a very large penis, and he has that because that's where his autism is stored. And I'll end it with that. Thank you all for coming today. So probably see you tomorrow. I can't make any promises, but yeah, it was great.
Absolutely unhinged.
See you in a bit.
It's a great space, Adrian. Wonderful.
Yeah, I think this. R/Deloitte stock. You know, folks, you're a corner. Americans. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good evidence. One of the things that just like syndrome. Kitover, things are really good. And think about the Kitover, things are really good. And think Kitover, things are really good. And think Kitover, things are really good. And Kitover, things are really good. And think Kitover, things are really good. And think about it this way. Neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character is one that has a very large penis, and he has that because that's where his autism is stored. I'll end it with that. Thank you all for coming today. Kitover, things are really good. And think about it this way. Neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character is one that has a very large penis, and he has that because that's where his autism is stored. I'll end it with that. Thank you all for coming today. Over, things are really good. And think about it this way. Neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character is one that has a very large penis, and he has that because that's where his autism is stored. I'll end it with that. Thank you all for coming today. Over, things are really good. And think about it this way. Neurodivergent characters. There's something very, very fantastic. Like a neurodivergent character. Like a neurodivergent character. Like a neurodivergent character. Like a neurodivergent character.
racist. So I don't know what to do with this. You know, I wish white people would grow some balls and say, like, you know, this is an education standard. You either make it or you don't. I mean, if you look at Western education, which used to be the envy of the world, you had, you know, manners being taught in public schools, civic education, 3 years of civic classes. If you were late 3 times in a semester, you were kicked out from school and told to try again next year. It was extremely rough. It was extremely high standard, and it didn't play around. And all we've done in the last 70 years is not teach manners at school, not teach ethics or morals at school, which was Christianity and Bible study and prayer, and lower the education standard again and again and again to appease the lowest common denominator. So, I don't know. From my perspective, white people need to grow some balls, you know?
Can I please say this as an Australian? Literally yesterday, I watched, and I don't mean to open a can of worms, but I watched the Netflix special about O.J. Simpson. Yeah, we all know what happened back in the 90s, but this.
Guess what? Y'all don't have the balls to say it, and you just let black people be extremely tribal about that shit and get away with that shit.
Please let me finish. The whole court case was what we saw back then, and I'm 52 years old. I watched it all when it happened, right? But there was a bunch of shit in this special that I didn't know about before. All this evidence they had, blah 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 blah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole case. The whole case. I hope. Nice burp, brother. The whole case, as far as I can see, became a racist case because maybe 2 years before that you had what's his name, Rodney King. You know, that whole thing and the riots and all that, and then they turned O.J. Simpson into a
Can you
racist
turn the backpack,
case.
Josh?
Pardon?
No, I can't. Go ahead. Go ahead, Steve. We're listening.
Do you know what I'm saying? Is that
yeah, it got racialized. Yes, I get you 100%. And actually, when all the